Rivals in Pokemon come in all shapes and sizes, and as such they have different teams, but what are their true teams? What are the definitive teams that they would use? Well, that is what we're looking at today. What are the true teams of the rivals in Pokemon? This is part 2 of our true Pokemon teams of the rivals video, so check out part 1 for more context. Either way, let's get started. Starting off this video is going to be Barry from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl as well as Platinum. Some may ask why I don't include Dawn here. Well, I plan to make a whole separate thing for her in a different video. But either way, Barry has a strange combination of Pokemon as you look across his team over the course of the media he's shown up in. So, when you find him in Diamond and Pearl, he used a few specific Pokemon in his final battle with you, like a Staravia, Heracross, Roselia, Weasel, and then of course the opposite starter Pokemon of whatever you as the player chose. However, in Platinum, he uses a somewhat more evolved team. He has a Staraptor, Heracross again, Floatzel, Rapidash, and a starter Pokemon, making his team far stronger than the Diamond and Pearl one. As for what his true team is, well, here it is. Number 6 is Staraptor for sure. He actually has a Starly in the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl manga as well, and on top of that he has a Starly in all versions of his team in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Number 5, Heracross, a Pokemon that's very present on his team, and that does seem to stick with his team throughout all of the games. Number 4, we have ourselves Floatzel. And once again, this is a case of him using this thing throughout all of the games, which is why I think it fits here. Number 3 is Roserade. Now, he doesn't actually use Roserade, but only a Roselia, but I thought why not just evolve it for him, because that makes more sense. Number 2 is Rapidash. A Ponyta is what he actually shows up with a few times early on his team in some of the early battles, and his final team in Platinum actually has this Rapidash as well, and so I think it fits. And finally, number 1, we have Empoleon. I decided that this is basically his true starter Pokemon in my true starter Pokemon video, and that Piplup feels like the best fit for him as a character for Barry, so why not go down the same path for his true team. Next, we have Unova, and here we have Cheren, Bianca, and Hugh. So, let's start with Cheren. That's what we'll basically do. And his team in Black and White consists of an Unpheasant, Simipour, Leopard, and of course a starter. And it's not always a Simipour, depending on like what kind of starter you choose, that will affect his choice of like one of the elemental monkeys. However, in the post game, he gets himself a Gigalith and Haxorus on his team. And we can't forget him as the gym leader in Black and White 2, where he uses a Patrat and Lillipup. And then there is also a really messy normal type team he uses in the Pokemon World Tournament with Stoutland, Zangoose, 2 Chinchinos, and also 2 Watchog. So, a really strange team. Honestly, kind of an unappealing team if I'm going to be frankly honest. But what is his true team? Well, number 6 is Stoutland. And the reason for this is because Cheren does show up in the main series anime, and there he has a Herdier. And so I was thinking, having a Stoutland makes sense. And on top of that, he also has himself a Stoutland in the Black and White 2 animated trailer, so it just makes sense. Number 5 is Simisage. And the reason for this is because it is present a Pokemon, like it is a present Pokemon in his team in Black and White, but also it is the Pokemon that he actually has, or the elemental monkey he has in the Pokemon manga team, where he has a Pansage, so it just makes sense to have a Simisage that's just evolved, you know, it just makes sense. Number 4 is Leopard, a Pokemon that does make its presence known in his Black and White 2 team, and that I think deserves a spot in his team still. Not that present in general in the other media, but still think it, you know, fits in here. Number 3 is Chinchino, as it's part of his team in Black and White 2, as well as the main series anime, and he does have 2 of them at one point, so why not just give him at least 1? And of course, then we have number 2, which is Haxorus. Now, not super present in his team perhaps, and only really in his post-game team, but I just find that having something extra in here just makes sense. Like, he doesn't have that many unique Pokemon, most of it is just kind of generic stuff, so I thought why not add something a little bit spicier. Now, number 1, here we have Serperior. Now, in my original True Starter video, I forgot to mention that the True Starter could actually also be an Emboar for Cheren, as he does actually fit well with that when you look at the different media he's in. But either way, in this case, we're going with Serperior, as that was the one I chose in my True Starter video, so I think it fits well here as well. So that is basically his true team. Next, we have Bianca, and here we have a character that runs a similar setup as Cheren. She has a Stoutland in Black and White, and on her team, and also an Elemental Monkey, but instead of a Leopard, she has a Musharna. However, in her post-game team in Black and White 2, she has a Mienshao and a Chandelure and the previously mentioned Pokemon. So, she isn't that present in Black and White 2, and her team is mostly the same. But what is her true team? Well, number 6 is Chandelure. So, this comes down to the fact that she uses it in both the manga and the anime, which is why I think it fits. Number 5 is Musharna. as it is present pretty much in her like video game team for the most part, and it's a unique Pokemon that fits her. Number 4 is Mienshao. Again, a Pokemon very much present in her video game teams. Again, feeling to me like it fits well into her true team. Number 3, now I think here it fits well to have one of the elemental monkeys, so I'm gonna go with Simipour for her, as I feel it just fits well with the combo of her team that we're gonna go into a little bit further. Number 2, then we have Stoutland. Yes, I know Cheren has one as well, but there's the thing though, it does show up in her team as well in the video game, so it makes sense to have it on here as well, as it just fits with her as well. Number 1, here we have ourselves Pepic and Emboar, as that is the true starter Pokemon I came to the conclusion for in my true starter video. Of course, you could also look around and see a different option here, but I think this works the best. The final rival for Unova is Hugh, and his biggest problem is the lack of presence in any other media, but we do find him in Black and White 2, where he has this final team that contains Unpheasant, one elemental monkey, depending on what you choose, Buffalint, Flygon, Electros, and a starter Pokemon, of course. So, what is his true team? Number 6, well, here we have ourselves a Flygon, and that is because actually in the adventure manga, he has a Vibrava, so a Flygon just makes sense to have, as he does have that in the game as well. Number 5 is Electros, as again, it does show up in the video game, but also is in the manga with him, which is a cool Pokemon, and I think it fits him well. Number 4 is Unpheasant. He actually has a Pidove in the adventure manga, and of course, it is fully evolved Unpheasant in the video games, so I think it also matches well to his team. Number 3 is Buffalint. So here is the case where like he just don't have enough Pokemon to work with, but it's one of those Pokemon that it's in the video game teams, so I think it fits well in here as well, as we do see him use it quite a bit. And number 2, here we have Simisear, the final option out of the elemental monkeys, and I think it will match well alongside his starter Pokemon, which is number 1, Samurott. Of course, this is the starter Pokemon which fits him the best, and that should of course be on his true team. It just makes the total sense. It's in the animated trailer for Black and White 2 and so many other places. It just fits the best. Next, we have the 6th generation, and probably the most complicated generation for me to explain, as there are so many rivals in this technically. You have Calem and Serena as the main protagonists, as well as the main rivals. Then you have Shauna, Tierno, and Trevor as the side rivals, but for this video, we're going to go through all of them. I didn't do this the last time when I did the true starters, but this time I'm going to do it to make you guys happy. So Calem is first, and the problem with him is that him and Serena pretty much run the exact same team in Pokemon X and Y. However, in the manga, Calem has one of the most unique teams ever. So let's have a look at what his true team really would be. Number 6 would be Charizard, and you might be confused, but in the Generations anime as well as in the manga, Calem uses a Charizard alongside another starter, so I think Charizard makes sense to have in his true team. Number 5 would be Kangaskhan, which is the first Pokemon Calem had in the manga, where he's known also as X and not Calem, but the point is, he uses that there, so I think it fits with his team. Number 4 is Vaporeon. This Pokemon is a strange one, as both him and Serena use it depending on what you as the player choose as your starter. They kind of, basically use that against you. So I thought, why not go with Vaporeon specifically, as it just kind of synergizes well with the rest of his team. Number 3 is Absol, as it is present in his team in the games throughout. Just makes sense to have it on here. Gengar and Mega Gengar at that, since here it makes sense, right? Why not do a Mega Gengar when you can? And it actually is Mega in the manga as well, and it fits well in his team. And finally, number 1 is Chestnut, of course, since that is the true starter Pokemon, and it fits perfectly here. Serena is next, and she has a similar issue. However, she appears a lot more than Calem, like for example in the main series anime. So what could her true team be? Well, let's start with that. So number 1, Sylveon, or number 6 rather, Sylveon. It is present in her team on hand team in the main anime series, and is also one of her main Pokemon in the manga. Number 5 would be Absol. So yes, I know Calem has one as well, but she fits perfectly with one of those, as she does actually have a Mega Absol in the manga, so maybe having a Mega here, makes sense, while Calem has the Mega Gengar. Number 4 would be Rhyhorn, as she does have one also in the manga and the anime, temporarily that is, but she does have those, so I thought, why not? You could also evolve it into a Rhydon or a Rhyperior, it just makes sense. Number 3 would be Pancham or Pangoro. Fits well on her team, as it's one of her main Pokemon in the anime main series. Number 2 would be Altaria. I know, a strange choice, but hear me out. See, Altaria is one of those Pokemon from her team in the game that just fits her personality and fits her team perfectly. And number 1, of course, is going to be Delphox, as it is her true starter Pokemon, and it makes sense to have it on her team fully evolved. 100% makes sense for her to have. Next, we have the side rivals, and we start with Shauna. We're not going to go in depth on her and any of these guys. We're just going to go kind of through their true teams. So here's Shauna's true team. Number 6, Delcatty, as one of her main Pokemon and is present in the games and the anime. Number 5 would be Furfrou, as it's one of her main Pokemon in the manga as well, where she has to use it for kind of like, I don't know, learning some makeup tutorials and stuff like that, I don't know. Number 4 would be Venusaur, as the reason for this is because she has the presence of a Ivysaur on her team in the, or the Shauna in the main series has a actual Ivysaur on her team, so it just makes sense to have a Venusaur. Number 3 would be Goodra, one of the strongest Pokemon on her team in the X and Y games. Number 2, Sylveon, a Pokemon found on her team during the Battle Mason multi-battle, and I think it just fits with her personality and her style in general. Now for number 1, I never really chose a true starter Pokemon for her back in the day when I made that video, but I think considering how she is a character in the game that fits with a specific starter Pokemon, I think Fennekin would make the most sense, as well as Delphox for her, just with her personality and style. I think that's a perfect starter for her, and I think that's the perfect Pokemon to be the last one in her true team. Tierno is next, and for his team we have this. Number 6, Roserade is first. However, his use of it in X and Y is horrible, and he doesn't actually have many moves on it, hence why I think as a meme it fits perfectly for him. Number 5 is Crawdaunt, and is also a very present Pokemon on his in-game team, but also in his manga team, he actually has it there. Number 4 next is Blastoise, and the reason it is present in his team in the anime where he uses it is pretty awesome actually. Like the fact that he has that is amazing. Number 3 is Ludicolo, another one of the Pokemon that's present in his main series anime team, but it's pretty good fit for him actually. Number 2 is Mamoswine, and this again is just one that's present in the manga team, not really much beyond that, but I think it just fits well with his overall combination of Pokemon here. And number 1, finally, I would argue Blastoise is his true starter Pokemon actually, but if I had to choose an X and Y starter, I would say Chespin would fit the best as his, actual true starter Pokemon. Now, he had it temporarily in the manga, so I don't see why that wouldn't fit well as his true starter Pokemon, like the final one. So yeah, Chespin is the last one, or Chestnut, whatever you want to say, but that is the true starter Pokemon on his team. Trevor is the final one for Generation 6, and here is the team we put together for him. Number 6, first up for him would be Aerodactyl, a perfect fit that he uses in the video games and the anime main series as well. Number 5 would be Florges, a Pokemon he has been seen using both in the anime and the games several times, and it makes sense for him. Number 4, next we have Charizard. So see, the thing is, I would argue this is a true starter Pokemon as well, the same way as we had with the previous, but here's the thing, I just think it fits well in his team in general. So yeah, definitely a Pokemon that just fits in his team in general sense. Number 3 is Raichu is next, which is his first Pokemon in the games that he uses in the second battle with him. When you battle him there, it's the first Pokemon he uses against you. Number 2 is Tyrantrum is next, and he uses it in the Battle Mason multi-battle, and considering one of his main Pokemon is Aerodactyl, I don't see why another fossil wouldn't make sense. It feels like it would make sense for him to use, as he maybe likes to use those sort of Pokemon. And number 1, finally we have Delphox. Now this would be his true Kalos starter Pokemon, but I still think Charizard makes the most sense, however, if you were to talk about his actual main starter. However, he does use the Delphox in the main manga, adventure manga, so I think this is the main Pokemon that should be here at the end of his team. So that was Gen 6, now we're on to Generation 7, and here we have Hugh as well as Gladion. Hugh is first, and his champion team is crazy and matches really well with his anime and manga team. So what does his true team look like? Well, here it is. Number 6 is Alolan Raichu. This is present in the games, anime, and manga, and makes 100% sense to me to have on his team. Now in the manga, he actually uses a Pikachu and not a Alolan Raichu, but my point is, it still fits 100% here. Number 5 is Tauros, a Pokemon that's only present in the video games, but I still think fits well in his team. Number 4 is Noivern, and I think even though it's got a low presence and mainly shows up in the video games, it fits well overall across his team, alongside whatever else he's using, because just having that extra like winged Pokemon just makes sense. Number 3 is Komala next, and yeah, I know, strange choice, but he does use it in his manga team, and it is a unique choice and kind of cool to have on his team because it's so strange and off-brand, Number 2 is Crabominable. Now, this is a Pokemon that's in his main team, and a Pokemon that I'm not a big fan of, but hey, it's a cool Pokemon for him to have, so let's go for that. And number 1, last but not least, we have the Decidueye, which of course is his true starter Pokemon as well, or Rowlet is, but you get the point. It just fits super well with him. It's a great freaking match. Next, we have Gladion, and for him, we have the situation where it's kind of hard to really figure out exactly what he has, as across the manga, anime, and games, he has a really different kind of setup of Pokemon, but let's take a look at what his true team could be. Number 6 would be Lycanroc, a Pokemon present in his manga team, and perhaps having a Midnight Lycanroc would make even better sense because that's the one that he kind of used in the anime compared to the manga. So a Midnight Lycanroc makes sense. Number 5 is Zoroark, a Pokemon that fits his personality perfectly and is present in the anime and the games as well. Number 4, Lucario is next, and this is a bad boy that shows up in his team throughout the games and just fits really well with Gladion and the way he kind of battles. Crobat, again, fits his personality, does stay in his team throughout the games, makes sense for him to have. Number 2 is Silvally. Now, I had a hard time choosing the true starter Pokemon in the true starter video for Gladion, but I came to the conclusion that there is another Pokemon that can fit the spot a lot better, which you guys helped me out figure out, to take the Silvally spot for his true starter. But Silvally takes a spot on his team still though. But who is the true starter Pokemon for him, and who's the number 1 Pokemon on his team? Well, that one goes to Eevee and Umbreon, essentially. I didn't realize how much more it made sense for him to actually have something like this as his true starter in his Pokemon team compared to what I actually originally chose. So yeah, his true starter is Eevee / Umbreon, and Umbreon is the final Pokemon on his true team. So that is the video, guys, and yes, I know you might be asking, but wait, where's Generation 8 and Hop, Beatty, Marnie, and where are all the other ones at? Well, since this video is already long, I decided to split those over to a single separate video, and if we get to 1,000 likes, you can expect that video to drop super fast after this one hits the goal. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. I'm gonna drop that one separately for you guys if we hit the like goal. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all the next time. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.